Good morning, beloveds. It is good to be with you all today. I want to begin by giving thanks to the land where I find myself here in Michigan, the original lands of the Potawatomi, Ottawa, and Ojibwe nations, the people of the Three Fires. I am grateful for this land. I want to thank each of the sacred elements and their respective cardinal directions: north, the earth; the east, the air; the south, the fire; and the west, the waters. I want to thank each of you for being here today, for engaging in community in this way, for supporting this community the way you do. Today we are going to explore how we evolve with nature and how we need these four sacred elements for our well-being and to feel a sense of connection to the larger web of life. I call on now the steady, balanced, nourishing, generative love of the earth element. I call on the fiery, fierce, radiant love of the fire element and the sun. Radiant love. I call on radiant love. I call on the deep, deep, thirst-quenching love of the west, of the waters. And I call on the benevolent, the heart-centered love of the air, or the east. Now come, beloveds, let us worship together. Let us worship together. It's close to springtime here in Michigan, and I feel the energy rising in me, the excitement, because I get to plant seeds. Every year, I feel blessed to be able to participate in this sacred act of creating life, life-giving life. This is how I see it, this process. It can seem simple, but it's awe-inspiring to me. I begin by thanking and blessing the seeds, and then I put each in a little soil. Thank you, Mother Earth. And then I ask the waters to do their magic, helping to transport important nutrients around, because water is all about movement. Without this element of water, the life force inside those seeds will not be able to sprout, since life is not possible without water. And then comes the sun. Here comes the sun. The sun, which I used to relate to as something up there in the sky, a thing up there in the sky. The sun, the giver of life force energy, will then freely will give of its light and its warmth to these seeds that contain an ancient wisdom within, a code imprinted in them with specific instructions on what to do when, how to transform from seed to seedling to plant, how to go through that process of metamorphosis from a tiny seed into an abundant blessing of beauty, color, fiber, vitamins, minerals for us to enjoy, for us to savor, for us to live, for us to have energy and vitality and well-being. And it's not just for us, of course. They will also produce nectar, pollen for the bees and the birds. In fact, these plants, these seeds, will provide all kinds of gifts, life-giving gifts for the deer and the squirrels and the neighbors and the whole ecosystem, really, the whole ecosystem. This interdependence, this abundant generosity, this life that insists on giving life is awe-inspiring to me. But there's more. During my own healing journey, I found that each of these elements needed for these plants to grow and flourish each of these elements is also essential for our own healing, for our own flourishing, for our own well-being, even for our sense of purpose in the world, for how we help our ecosystem and our communities. From the very beginning, human beings have been intimately connected to nature. Actually, we are nature in human form, of course. And so our physical and mental health is influenced largely by the environments and the elements we are exposed to or are not exposed to. Our nervous systems evolve with nature, and our separation from nature has had severe consequences on our health, on our sense of awe and wonder and enchantment with the natural world. And it has also negatively impacted the health of our ecosystems and the health of our communities as well. So I am speaking of all of these, beloveds, because my ministry these days is at this particular intersection on the corner of mental health, nature, and spirituality. Because the current rates of mental health issues and the level of suffering and despair we are experiencing is alarming, distressing, devastating. I speak of this as a minister who has witnessed far too much suffering in her short career, and also as a refugee, as a person who has moved more than 20 times in her life, not always by choice. And so I know deeply from experience the psychological trauma that comes with displacement, with being uprooted from a place of belonging. I also speak too as a descendant of Afro-Arawak indigenous ancestors, as someone who carries complex intergenerational trauma, as well as a wellspring of wisdom from those same ancestors. Inside of you, there is a knowledge on not just how to survive, but how to thrive, how to flourish, and how to contribute to the flourishing of your ecosystem, but in a natural and sustainable way. And so from this perspective, I want to invite you to look at the 4 elements today, the 4 main sacred elements today, which are the base of many traditional therapies around the world. I want to invite you to consider how these elements play a role in your life, in your own healing, in your body, as we participate in this wave of collective healing that is taking place in the world, and that gives me so much hope for the future. I like to think about our relationship with the elements as a love story, a story of deep intimacy, interdependence, and nourishing reciprocity. I would like to begin with the element of fire, because as a person from the Caribbean living in Michigan, my heart yearns for the warmth of this element, particularly the sun. In the winter, we develop a seasonal affective disorder. We feel it in our lack of energy, in our troubled sleep, and especially in our mood. It really affects our mood because the reduced level of sunlight keep us from absorbing vitamin D, serotonin, and dopamine, which the sun provides abundantly to support our nervous system and our immune system. That is love right there. Radiant love, my kind of love. And you know what? Mother Nature actually made sure to install over 2,000 receptors all over the skin for you to soak in that deliciousness that doesn't only just feel good on your skin, it actually feels good inside. It feels intoxicating to the mind to bask in the sun like that. We yearn for the sun in the winter because our body, like most living things, need the sun and all its life-giving, love-giving qualities. When the sun returns in the spring, it doesn't just bring back life back to the earth. It helps us to restore our inner lives as well. We have more energy, our mood improves, we socialize more, etc. The element of fire has been associated with the sun in many different cultures, but of course we all know that when the sun goes down, we turn to the fire right away. The fire, we turn to it for light, for warmth, for visibility, for communicating, for entertainment, for cooking, for burning what doesn't serve us, for looking into the face of the beloved, smiling back at you, glowing with illumination. We evolve sitting around a campfire at night. And so that red light on our skins continue to be very beneficial and still very much needed for our health and well-being year-round. Sit around a bonfire is incredible for the health of your whole being. Campfire light. Inside of us, this element of life lives primarily around the stomach area. I feel the fire in me around my solar plexus, and that is also, according to yoga philosophy, our center of dignity and pride and personal power and energy. I call the fire energy inside of me my pride and joy. I see it as the color yellow. I wear the color yellow often because that color, it reminds me of the Cuban goddess Oshun, which keeps me happy, proud, energized, and joyful. So I want to invite you to have fun learning from the fire element. This energy that rises inside of you is a lot of fun. Try to connect to it sometime. I also invite you to receive at some point the love of the sun with the over 2,000 receptors that you have on your skin, given to you by Mother Nature. How does the seed inside of you react to the warm rays of the sun? I wonder. Does it make you flourish? Does it make you feel happy? Does it improve your mood? Check it out. When we are also able to stop and receive this gift from nature like that, our nervous system is also finally able to drop down its guard, and healing begins to happen when we slow down. This is why rest and relaxation are essential. So when we slow down and soak in the sun and breathe in some fresh air and listen to the birds, that slowing down makes us feel more energized and makes the life force inside of us run more freely. This is one of the many gifts that life gives us, if we were to see them as gifts and accept them as the free gift that they are. So now that we have fire, what else do we need for the seed inside of us to grow and flourish? We need earth, of course. The earth doesn't just give us nutrition to keep us alive. The mother also provides us with various plants, cacti, and fungi to alleviate or heal every wound we may have, every wound of ours, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual. The mother, in her abundant generosity, does give that to us freely. Look, just being around greenery or even looking at pictures of nature supports our overall mental health and physical health as well. It helps to reduce stress as well. Engaging in outdoor activities such as yoga, gardening, bird watching, forest bathing, or earthing, even earthing, this practice of putting our bare feet or our whole bodies close to the earth has been extensively studied and supported for generations now. The earth, beloved, gives us the ability to root ourselves, to feel deeply grounded. The earth helps us to regulate our nervous system and feel more balanced. The earth kind of love is not a fiery kind of love of the fire. The earth kind of love is nourishing, generative love. It is the kind of steady love we can depend on because it gives us a feeling of stability and safety. And from there, we can show up in life feeling rooted and secure in ourselves, from there we can give, from there we can nurture others like the earth does, but sustainably, rooted, grounded, sustainably. The earth element is the foundation for everything. It's the medium through which every other element flows. I want to invite you to ground yourself in the earth as much as possible, to claim your roots, to become steady like a tree, steady like a tree. Or you can also think of yourself like a dandelion, which grows abundantly and persistently throughout this planet. Close your eyes and imagine you are a dandelion. Feel the tap root growing deep into the earth. Deep, deep into the earth. Feel the gravity of the earth pulling you down, holding you safely, keeping you from floating up into the sky. The earth gravity holds you deep. Feel that safe, secure, grounding pull towards the earth. Now stretch from the top of the crown towards the sun. Imagine feeling the warmth of the sun on your head. Imagine that life force pulling you up. Imagine your head is full of these yellow dandelion flower petals. Feel the joy of blossoming like this, deeply grounded and pulling up towards the sun. Now that we feel grounded by the earth and called by the sun to grow, we bring in the element of water. Do you remember the first time you experienced water? It was in the womb. Everything was being provided for you. Water has always been around us and inside of us, yet we don't think about that often. Can you believe that 70% of our planet is water and 60% of our own body is water? Water cleanses us, hydrates us, calms our nervous system. Have you noticed how when you take a bath or go swimming, your body relaxes naturally? The element of water is about fluidity, motion, and also emotions. While the air has this uplifting quality to it, the waters bring you deep. Some people don't like this element. They find it dangerous because they are afraid of their emotions. Our emotions, this natural part of being human, are just like the waters. They want to move. Unexpressed emotions don't just simply go away. They get buried. They become stagnant, and our aliveness pays the price. We lose the colors. Our life gets dried up or frozen when we don't have a full emotional life. Here is an invitation, beloved, to honor the sacred waters that come through our eyes, connected to our feelings, our very human, very natural feelings. May we acknowledge and respect our feelings. Now, because we are mostly water, we need to drink as much pure water as possible to stay healthy in every way. We also are called to fully understand the value of water for all of life, all of life. And we're also called to protect our waters and our water protectors, because water is life. Water is sacred. And then, of course, every seed, every plant needs the air element. The proper use of our breath has been recommended for centuries. I am particularly obsessed with breath work because of how liberating it is. Breath work is not the same as breathing as we normally do. Breath work is the intentional, controlled breathing patterns that allow us to connect to spirit, to connect to a higher, healthier version of ourselves. You don't have to be held captive by your strong emotions anymore. The air element can pull you out of almost anything. When we become an airbender, meaning when we learn to work with our breath, we become free, or freer anyway. So when a strong emotion arises, we no longer have to run away. We can honor it, and we can call on the air element to help us deal with it, to help us move, to help that energy, that feeling, that emotion move through us. The air element is a liberating current installed in us by Mother Nature. The way we breathe sends signals to our brain, and from there, the brain decides how we feel at any moment. So if you hold our breath and engage in shallow breathing, the brain interprets that as being in danger, as feeling anxious, stressed, or panicked. However, when you take deep, long breath, this sends signals to the brain, which reduces the level of stress hormones in the body, bringing an almost immediate sense of well-being and inner peace. Air is light and airy. It's one of my favorite elements. Throughout various cultures, this element has been associated with spirit, with the heart, with the benevolence of life. The benevolence in you, the benevolence in your heart. While the waters bring you deep, the air wants to take you higher. Breath work, such as pranayama, for centuries have elevated humans to higher planes of consciousness. It works. It works beautifully, actually. Hold your breath. Lose your connection to spirit, to your liberating current. Own your breath. Master your breath. Become an empowered spiritual warrior. I promise I have been there. I have felt kidnapped before, rendered powerless by grief or fear or panic. But the air element have pulled me out every time. Breathing not only regulates our nervous system, but also raises the level of oxygen in the brain. Of course, it regulates our heart rate. It's incredible. It lowers our blood pressure. It expels toxins from the body. It influences our blood flow, and it boosts our immune system. It is such a gift from nature. This element of air is often associated with the East, with new beginnings, with lightheartedness and innocence. And that's the kind of love we get from the air element, elevating, altruistic, pure to the core. I am particularly grateful to this element for how it connects us to the oneness, the mystery, the universal intelligence that animates the cosmos, which to me feels like love, universal love. Because in the end, that's what it's all about. That is the greatest love story of all time. How life loves and supports us. May we feel it. May we embrace it. May it be so. May it be so.